Hey guys, Mark Allen, BH Spring Solutions LLC and bhspringsolutions.com. We are back for another session of High Power University, and this is actually a combination video for High Power University and about a change to an existing BH Spring Solutions product. For a couple of years now, we've been offering the High Power Roll Pin Replacement Kit, and that came with all FN Browning provided pins. And the trigger spring pin and the magazine disconnect pin in the high power pistol, these are the same pin actually. And we've made a change, and we think it's a really good one. And I want to show you what necessitated the change. Here is the original high power trigger and the original high powers trigger return spring pin and magazine disconnect pin. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure what these pins were when they started out their life, but these boogers are probably, along with safety lever pins, are responsible for me breaking more 1/16 pin punches and us becoming convinced that the high power requires a 1/16 starter punch to give the 1/16 punch a fighting chance. And these kind of look a little bit ratty, if you will. This is the only one that actually shows. Well, some years back, what started out as appears to be a roll pin was replaced by Browning and FN by a solid pin that looks like this, and this is in a cylinder and slide wide trigger. In a cylinder and slide wide trigger, this pin is not exposed when it's installed. It's captured by each side of the frame that is on each side of this trigger when it's installed. The interesting thing about this pin is the fit is often kind of like that. Now, the downside of this, there's not any big downside except it's a pain when you're installing it if it's not, in place and stays there. The downside of this is when you start using this pin as a replacement in a Browning trigger for this pin, and imagine that the fit is loose like it was in that cylinder and slide trigger, and you don't have the magazine disconnect in to kind of hold it, pressurized in place. This one is exposed. And if you don't have the magazine disconnect, that solid pin I just showed you from Browning, you're going to either need to Loctite it into the trigger so it stays, or something else. But not the easiest thing in the world to work with, the solid pins. What we have decided to do, I want to show you one more. This is in a BH Spring Solutions advanced trigger, and see if we can get the focus to come in. The pin that is in this trigger, you can see it good right there. Very nice, very presentable. It's actually just below flush, Guaranteed to never be a contradiction or a interference of any kind with your frame when it's installed. This is our new pin for the trigger return spring pin and or for the magazine disconnect pin in the traditional high power trigger. This is a BH Spring Solutions spiral pin. And what you're going to notice in all triggers is the first install of this pin, I want to give you the best suggestion. Use one of our magnets and place your trigger on the magnet, hold the pin with needle nose pliers and get it started, and pound it all the way through with a 5/64 pin punch, or a 3/32 roll pin punch, or a 5/64 roll pin punch. And go ahead and seat the pin all the way through, then back it out, put your trigger return spring in, and then install it. You're going to find this is a long-lasting pin. I sure have. It works the way this pin ought to work. It's presentable looking. It's fine if you have it as a replacement for this booger right here in your traditional trigger. It's still a fine appearance. It's clean, finished looking like you'd expect the appearance to be. Now, here's the even better news. On the roll pin replacement kit, we've replaced out 2 FN Browning springs here with BH Spring Solutions, the spring I just showed you. We're going to be able to reduce the price of this roll pin replacement kit by 33%. This has always been $14.95 at our website. It will now go to $9.95 because of this change. What Browning and FN get for their pins is really, really wild. So, and we have a new item too. We're going to sell these trigger pins, or trigger subassembly pins for the trigger return spring pin and the magazine disconnect pin. We're going to sell those in 4 packs and 10 packs. and very, very economical. So you guys who just want to pick up those pins, have them for your triggers that you have now, you're going to be able to do that, and it's going to be very, very economical by comparison to what we've paid always for the FN Browning pins. That is the completion of this for this time, but we really think this is a nice improvement and a nice upgrade. We've sure enjoyed it here in the new trigger subassembly that BH Spring Solutions and RDIH are bringing to the market as well. It just works exactly, well, it's the pin solution in this situation that works with you and doesn't work against you, and that's why we've decided to replace out the Browning sourced pins. Mark Allen, BH Spring Solutions, LLC, and BHSpringSolutions.com. Well, thank you for watching.